Welcome. We are excited to share with you the work that the local Independence Education Center learning community has accomplished this year. As you'll hear throughout this presentation, our scholars, Mackenzie Army and Jadina Mosetti, and our research assistant, Emily Vargo, have faced many barriers related to the uncertainty created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite these challenges, the members of our learning community have continued to make progress towards their goal of designing sustainable programs that support the development of non-cognitive skills for students at the IEC. During the panel, scholars will discuss plans for continued implementation of these projects, including opportunities for the involvement from the Defiance College community. We hope this presentation inspires you to join us in our breakout session.
What if I told you that you're stronger and smarter than you might think? What if I told you that you can in fact overcome any obstacle, hurdle, or event in your life and be okay in the end? If I told you that there are kids that are facing harder struggles than most of us in this room are right now and still move on every day with a smile on their face, would you believe me? I want to talk to you all today about a very important thing called resiliency and how this exactly not only affects your day-to-day, but also affects your social skills and your drive to overcome things. What exactly is resiliency, you might ask? Well, it's when a person might reach out to communities, families, or governments to access the resources they need to overcome an obstacle. So I want you all to sit here today, close your eyes, and think about an obstacle you've had to overcome. Think about how you got through it to be able to sit here today where you are. All right, now I want you to open your eyes. According to multiple articles and studies, children that are affected by hardships and challenges are more likely to be resilient than others. Sometimes we lose sight of how to be resilient through those hard times, especially in the times we are living in today with COVID. It's become apparent that at least half of those of you that are sitting here today have been quarantined or even isolated within the past academic year alone. Now I want you all to think about how hard that was for you, how difficult it was to push through being alone, away from the world, away from your friends, and excluded from the outside. Now I want you all to think about how you would face that if you were a child. But not just any child, a child with possible home issues, possibly in foster homes, maybe going through medical complications, and all going through this alone because of COVID. Now I want you to think about being a child, not being able to run around with your friends or be close to them anymore. Welcome to the current world of the students at the IEC at this very moment. The kids at the IEC are struggling, not only with their personal issues, but also with COVID changing everything. In order to help them with this, I devised a pen pal program. This program will not only give them a way of communication through those hard times, but also an outlet. An outlet for them to be able to gain those most desired social skills they aren't able to get at this very moment. These kids are struggling and begging for attention. They went from being able to do almost anything to barely being able to do anything because of COVID. Through this project, they will gain that attention that they are striving to get, all while going through resiliency at the same time. Now you're going to hear from someone who's at the IEC at this very exact moment.
The staff at the IEC communicated a need for opportunities for students to further their social emotional repertoires and non-cognitive targets that will support the success at the IEC and beyond. Research suggests that extracurricular activities can strengthen the development of students' non-cognitive skills, such as persistence, collaboration, and communication. Development of these skills will assist the students in the classroom and prepare the students for life outside of school. At the IEC, there is a limited amount of extracurricular activities offered for students to participate in. So my project is to implement the extracurricular activities to allow for more opportunities for students. I worked on adding an intramural sports program to engage students in physical activity and allow for more options for students to get involved outside of the classroom. Research shows that extracurricular activities are an important element to the school experience for students and help get the students engaged inside the classroom. I want the students at the IEC to be able to receive the school experience and to get them involved. According to research, additional sports activities and teaching physical education has a major impact on functional abilities of students. At the IEC, elementary students get an average of 100 minutes of gym time, and high school students get about 180 minutes a week. This intramural sports program will allow the students to participate in a sports activity that is needed, and of course, exercise, which is so important for both physical and mental health. Being a part of a sports team can be very costly, and this barrier is especially problematic for low-income families. About 90% of families at the IEC are low income. By offering this extracurricular activity, it allows students to participate in different sports at the school, and families do not have to worry about the monetary and time-related costs. By participating in sports, Burke and McGivern were able to see the benefits, which are reducing obesity, improving social competence, character development, feelings of self-worth, social development, physical skills, and it also reduces a high-risk behavior chance. VH and colleagues also reported that by encouraging physical activity, students tend to become more active and more resilient. While students at the IEC often have gone through hard times at a young age, it is important to work with them to develop resilience and skills they can use to cope with future trauma and adverse experiences. This past year has been hard for all of us as we adjusted to our new daily life, and just like everything else, COVID-19 has affected my project. I have had to make many changes to make my project work while keeping everyone safe. Although the intramural sports program has not been fully implemented and not as I originally planned, I have learned so much about what steps I need to take to improve my project and continue the intramural sports program every year. To establish this, it is important to keep a great relationship with my fellow scholars and the staff at the IEC. I also need to be prepared for any problems and challenges that occur and how to work on overcoming them. I want this project to continue throughout the years and be improved where it is needed. Bradley and Conway tell us that an organized school program who practices throughout the week and represents the school promotes self-capital, self-esteem, and self-concept in students along with good level of school connectedness. As this project continues, I hope that students are able to gain these skills by practicing these sports more often and more organized to the IEC. And now we go to Emily.
As a research assistant, I help both Mackenzie and Jordina on their projects by assisting with finding and reviewing peer-reviewed research. When I helped Mackenzie, an important question I had to ask was, what are the effects of physical activity and non-cognitive skills? The majority of the research showed that exercise helped improve academic performance. Exercise helped some students focus more, cut down on obesity, helped with mental health, and increased test scores. Jordina asked me to review literature related to the effects of quarantine and academics. When looking at this, the question I had to ask was, does quarantine affect academics? If so, how and why? Our initial search showed that there are not yet many peer-reviewed research articles related to the effects of quarantine and academics. The information I was able to attain is that teaching your child about COVID and how to understand data of the cases can really help. Seeing a pattern can help ease worries and know when you need to take extra precautions. I also found that quarantine has caused anxiety and increase in mental health, affected academic performance, and has caused behavioral issues. After helping the two scholars, I was asked to review research related to resilience. Resilience is the ability to overcome adversity and continue his or her development. Resilience is also just not an individual measure. It takes a person to reach out for a resource, but it takes families, communities, and governments to provide resources so someone has a chance to overcome a challenge.